Hello friends, I am Dr. Sonal Chandak. In this presentation, I am going to discuss with you one of the very important chapters, that is hypothesis. Friends, when we have a research problem and study the literature based on the same, we tend to derive at certain questions, out of which we try to know what are the possible solutions. These possible solutions are nothing but the hypothesis. Let's go into some more details, try to know what is the definition of hypothesis, and we will try to know the examples with respect to the hypothesis. Friends, in science, a hypothesis is an idea or an explanation which is required to be tested with the help of study or an experimentation. Outside science, a theory or a guess can be labeled or called as hypothesis. A hypothesis is something more than a wild guess or less than a well-established theory. In science, the hypothesis is required to be labeled as a theory after undergoing a lot of testing. In the non-scientific world, the word is used a lot more loosely. May I quote an example here? A detective who is making a study of a crime scene may have a wild guess. It means he must be having some hypothesis with respect to the crime scene and the people involved in it. Another example is that the juice is spilled in the rug, and the mother in the house must be having some wild guesses with respect to how the juice is spilled in the rug or who must have done this. Let us go into more details as to what is hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but a tentative insight into the natural world. It is a concept that is yet to be verified or which is not yet verified, but that, if true, would explain certain facts and certain phenomena. A scientific hypothesis that survives experimental testing becomes a scientific theory later on. It's nothing but a proposal intended to explain certain facts and phenomena, certain observations. Say, for example, when the patients of corona started increasing, the problem of research arose as to why this must have happened, from where this must have happened. There are thousands of questions which came into existence with respect to corona at the initial stage. Later on, trying to know the symptoms of corona, whether we can call this situation or these symptoms as corona or what, came into existence. Now, if the patient is coming in front of you, whether he or she is the patient of corona or not, has to be identified. We have a hypothesis saying the person must be having a corona or he mustn't be having the corona. And then the tests take place, the swabs are taken, and the testing is done. With the help of oximeter, his oxygen level is tested, his blood pressure and other factors are tested, his temperature is tested, and later on, when the swab proves that there is a corona, the patient is separated as a corona patient. But on the basis of symptoms, we can just come to the hypothesis that the person may be having corona, may not be having corona. It means it is a message expressing an opinion based on the incomplete evidence. It is a message expressing a belief about something. The expression of a belief that is held with confidence but is required to be substantiated by the positive knowledge or proof. So friends, hypothesis is nothing but an assumption made by the researcher, and he wants to test whether it is right or wrong. It is an assumption or an idea about a phenomena, a relationship or a situation, the reality or the truth of which we do not know. It means it is just an assumption or it is just an idea. It tries to form the relationship between two factors, two variables, and try to identify whether it is right or wrong. It is trying to find out certain reality or certain truth, having certain assumption saying that this must be true. It might be true, it might not be true. It must be right, it mustn't be right. It is just a statement, logically formed opinion about the relationship between two or more than two variables. Here I would like to quote few examples in front of you. That we get the advertisement done with the help of different artists. May they be the child artist, may they be the adult artist. Maybe the advertisements based on the gender, that is maybe done by the female artist or the male artist. Now I can have a hypothesis specifying the advertisement made with the help of the child artist bring more sales. It means other artists might not be bringing the same. I quote another example. Being a teacher, I have two groups of students and I am applying both the groups the different method of teaching. I come to the hypothesis that the marks of these two groups remain the same or unchanged with the change in the method of teaching. These two hypotheses are absolutely the different hypotheses. In the first one, I am trying to specify as to the child artist advertisement bring more sales than the adult ones. Again, there is a relationship. However, in the second one, I am trying to say that though am I applying the different methods of teaching to both the groups, the result are going to be the same. Means they remain unchanged. Thus, friends, after having the observation of the broader area and the preliminary study, we arrive at the research problem. We have past data with respect to the research problem. We try to study it, go into the details as to what sort of problems we must have faced in the past, that is review of literature, which is related with the problem, and see what were the conclusions or tentative conclusions. And we try to associate the same with the present scenario or situation and say that now also we may arrive at the same conclusion. And so based on it, we assume, that means we are setting the hypothesis. Friends, in this particular presentation, we tried to understand the meaning of the term hypothesis. In the next slide, we are going to study what is null hypothesis and what is the alternate hypothesis with the help of the different examples.